I always knew my mother preferred my younger sister, Lily. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't accidental. It wasn't even something she denied. She adored Lily with the kind of blind, delusional devotion that turned every one of her mistakes into a learning experience, every tantrum into sensitivity, and every selfish act into just how she is. Meanwhile, Rachel, her firstborn, her responsible one, the child who paid bills at 16 and never caused trouble, was treated as the reliable background furniture of the family. Useful. Functional. Forgettable. But nothing prepared me for the day she told me, in front of 200 guests at Lily's wedding rehearsal, "You're not part of this family anymore." It was the way she said it, calm, practiced, like she had rehearsed it, like it was a speech she'd been dying to give. And it came just moments after I arrived with my daughter on my hip, the both of us smiling, the perfect dresses pressed, the gifts wrapped. I had driven 4 hours to get there. For Lily. For the sister who barely remembered my birthday but expected me to drop everything for her. I should have known something was wrong the moment I saw them, my mother in a blush pink dress too young for her age, standing beside Lily, glowing in her designer gown as if she hadn't thrown a screaming fit 2 days earlier about the floral arrangements. As soon as their eyes landed on me, their smiles tightened. Something was coming, and I was stupid enough to hope it was just another snide comment. It wasn't. It began with my mother frowning at my daughter's dress. Then she complained that my shoes were too distracting. Then she hissed that I should blend in more. Then she snapped that my presence was pulling attention away from Lily's big moment. Almost every woman in that room could feel the tension radiating off her, but nobody dared say a word. Because everyone knew, my mother was the queen of that family. Her word was law. Her moods were weather patterns everyone else had to endure. Then came the moment. The rehearsal dinner had barely begun. Guests were sipping champagne. Lily was laughing too loudly, like a child trying to impress adults. And I was standing at the edge of the room, my daughter holding on to my hand, when my mother approached with that brittle, poisonous smile that always meant danger. "Rachel," she said, loud enough for the entire ballroom to hear. "We need to talk." I nodded. "Sure. What's wrong?" She didn't pull me aside. She didn't lower her voice. She didn't act like a mother at all. Instead, she straightened her spine, folded her hands, and delivered the blow with the calm precision of a surgeon removing a tumor. "You are no longer part of this family," she announced. "And I'd like you to leave. Now." A glass clinked onto a table. Someone gasped. Lily stared at me with a mixture of pity and triumph, like she had been waiting her entire life for this dethroning. My chest tightened. "What are you talking about?" Mother smiled. Actually smiled. "You heard me. You're not part of this family anymore." My daughter squeezed my hand harder. "Mommy," she whispered, confused and scared. I inhaled sharply. "Mom, this isn't funny. We drove 4 hours to be here. I brought the gift, Mother lifted a manicured hand. "Enough. You're making a scene." She was the one who created the scene, but somehow I was the problem. Lily chimed in softly, "Maybe it's better if you just go, Rachel. You've always made things complicated." Complicated. The word hit harder than any slap. All the years I babysat her so she could go to parties. All the nights I stayed up with her when she cried about boys who didn't text back. All the money I lent her, money she never returned. All of it boiled down to complicated. My throat tightened. "Is this because I couldn't pay for part of the wedding?" "I told you Mother cut me off sharply. "It's because you're negative. You're cold. You bring stress wherever you go. Lily deserves joy on her wedding day. And frankly, you've never supported her enough." I stared at her, stunned. "I've supported her more than anyone." She scoffed. "You supported her out of obligation, not love." That was when something inside me snapped, not emotionally, but mentally, like a clean break of a bone that had been cracked for years. You'd think a moment like this would make me cry or shout or crumble. But something else happened instead. I saw them clearly, my mother and Lily, for exactly who they were. Not family. Not even people I owed anything to. Just takers. Users. People who had drained me my whole life and now dared to frame me as the problem. Still, I held it together. My daughter was watching. Fine, I whispered, voice steady. If you want me gone, I'll go. Mother gave that satisfied, victorious nod. Good. And take your things. You are not invited tomorrow. Meaning the wedding. Meaning the family photos. Meaning everything. I grabbed my bag, held my daughter close, and walked toward the exit as voices murmured behind me. Some whispered that's cruel. Others whispered she should have stood up for herself years ago. A few even whispered I wonder if Rachel will finally cut them off. But the sweetest whisper, the one that would change everything, came from Uncle Henry, my late grandfather's closest friend. He stepped toward me as I reached the door and said quietly, "You need to see something. Come by my house tomorrow. After the wedding you're not invited to." His eyes held a weight I didn't understand yet. A weight that would soon shift the entire balance of my family. Because the next day, while my mother and sister celebrated their perfect little wedding, I sat in Uncle Henry's living room holding a sealed envelope. My name was written on it in my grandfather's handwriting. Inside was a copy of his will. And everything was left to me. Not Lily. Not my mother. Not anyone else. My name. My future. My freedom. But the will wasn't the shocking part. The letter attached to it was. "Rachel, my girl, I know what your mother and sister have done to you. I've watched for years how they drained you, emotionally, financially, even spiritually. I saw your strength. I saw your heart. This family doesn't deserve you. But the legacy does. And I trust only you with it." I covered my mouth, shaking. My grandfather wasn't blind. He wasn't fooled. He saw everything. And he made his choice, quietly, powerfully, deliberately. But the final line of his letter was the fuse that lit the war to come. "When the time is right, show them who truly belongs in this family." I folded the letter slowly. The time was right. And I was done being the quiet one. This time, they would hear me. Loudly. And the wedding they uninvited me from? Would be the day their entire world collapsed. Not through violence. Not through screaming. But through truth. And truth, when you've spent your whole life lying, is the most devastating weapon of all. The morning after Lily's wedding felt unnervingly quiet. My daughter and I ate breakfast in peace, the sunlight soft through the blinds, the house warm and calm, a sensation I realized I hadn't truly felt in years. I kept replaying my grandfather's letter in my mind. His voice seemed to echo between the lines, steady and reassuring, telling me I wasn't imagining things all these years. I wasn't dramatic. I wasn't cold. I wasn't the failure my mother molded me to believe I was. I was simply the only one who saw the truth. By noon I received the first text from my mother. Then a call. Then 3 calls. Then Lily's frantic messages on repeat. I ignored them all. Because for the first time in 3 decades, they needed me. And I didn't need them at all. It wasn't until nearly 5 p.m. that the real storm arrived. My mother's SUV screeched into my driveway as if she had flown the entire way. She didn't knock. She pounded on the door with the fury of a woman discovering she no longer controlled the universe. "Rachel. Open this door right now." I took my time walking to it. My daughter peeked around the hallway corner, worried. "It's okay," I whispered. "Mommy's got this." When I finally opened the door, my mother barged in without a greeting, without permission, without even looking at my daughter. She marched straight into the living room, turned on her heel, and demanded, "What is the meaning of this?" I blinked slowly. Meaning of what? Don't play stupid with me, she snapped. Henry told me everything. He said your grandfather left that ridiculous will. To you. To you of all people. Her face twisted like she had just been slapped. That alone almost made me laugh. Why, I asked softly, does it bother you so much that he left his estate to me? Her lips curled. Because it's wrong. You didn't deserve it. Lily is an adult, I interrupted. And has never worked a day in her life. Grandfather didn't owe her anything. My mother's eyes bulged in disbelief, as if I had just insulted royalty. She pointed a shaky finger at me. Your sister is kind. And sweet. And generous. She loves this family. No, I thought, she loves what the family gives her. Out loud, I simply said, he made his choice. My mother paced the room like a caged animal. This can't stand. You'll give it back. All of it. The house, the accounts, the land, my God, the vacation property. Rachel, you cannot do this to your sister. I folded my arms. It's not mine to give back. It's mine, period. She froze. You're being selfish. A small laugh escaped my throat. I'm being selfish? After everything you said to me yesterday? After throwing me out in front of everyone? She waved a dismissive hand. You were being dramatic. You embarrassed Lily. I was standing still holding my daughter when you kicked me out, I said. If anyone was dramatic, it was you. She clenched her jaw. I had to protect your sister's big day. You're always ruining things with your negativity. There it was again. Negativity. The word she wielded like a weapon. I stepped closer. Mom, you didn't throw me out because I did anything wrong. You threw me out because you enjoy punishing me. She blinked. How dare you? You've done it my whole life. Rachel. You belittled every achievement. Ignored every milestone. Sided with Lily no matter how badly she behaved. And the moment I stopped bending to please you, I became the problem. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The truth had struck, clean, direct, and undeniable. It's no wonder grandfather saw what you didn't, I continued. He knew exactly what you and Lily were. That's why he wrote what he wrote. My mother's face twisted, but beneath the rage was something more fragile, fear. Fear that her control over the family she manipulated for decades was slipping through her fingers. She inhaled sharply. Rachel. Listen to me. She dropped her voice, trying to sound calm and maternal. It was a tone she only used when she wanted something. Sweetheart. Surely you don't think he meant to give you everything. You know how confused he was at the end. He wasn't confused, I said. He left a video recording. Henry gave it to me. Her face drained of color. I'm sorry, what? She whispered. A video. From him. Explaining exactly why he made the decision. My mother staggered back like she'd been hit. No, that can't be true. It is, I said. And he was very specific. He didn't trust you. Or Lily. Or your side of the family. Her hands began to shake. That was when Lily walked in. She must have been waiting outside the entire time, eavesdropping like she always did. She rushed into the living room, face blotchy, mascara streaked, clutching her purse like a toddler holding a security blanket. Rachel, please, she cried. You can't do this to us. To you, I corrected. Not us. Her voice cracked. You don't understand. I need that money. I blinked. You just got married, Lily. Shouldn't your husband be supporting you? She looked away. My mother stepped between us protectively. Her husband doesn't make as much as he claimed. I raised an eyebrow. Surprise, surprise. Lily burst into tears. Rachel, I'm begging you. I have debt. So much debt. you don't get it. I get it perfectly, I said. You want to live the lifestyle you grew up with, without working for it. That's not fair, she screeched. It's accurate, I said calmly. My mother suddenly lunged, grabbing my arm. You will give us that money. I pulled my arm free instantly. Touch me again and you'll never step foot in this house again. She stared at me, stunned, as if I had just spoken in another language. Because in her world, I wasn't allowed to have boundaries. Then something inside her snapped. Her face twisted in pure rage. I raised you. I fed you. I gave you everything. No, I said. You gave Lily everything. And I survived around the scraps. The room fell into a suffocating silence. Lily sobbed louder, like the volume could change my mind. Rachel, please. I'll do anything. And in that moment, seeing her desperation, my mother's shaking hands, the panic in their eyes, I felt something deep inside me unwind. A tension I had carried since childhood loosened and dissolved. Not because I enjoyed their suffering. Not because I wanted revenge. But because for the first time, they were seeing me. Not as their scapegoat. Not as their emotional punching bag. Not as the reliable daughter who would fix everything. But as the one person with actual power. And not power I begged for. Power that was rightfully mine. I spoke quietly. You threw me out of your family yesterday. I am simply respecting your wishes. My mother staggered backward, mouth hanging open, searching for a comeback that refused to arrive. I continued, you told me I'm no longer part of the family. Therefore, the inheritance wouldn't concern you, right? Her voice broke. Rachel, please. I didn't mean. You meant every word. I said. And now so do I. She gasped like I had slapped her. Lily sobbed harder, falling onto the couch, shaking. Please, please, don't do this. But I wasn't cruel. I wasn't vindictive. I wasn't punishing them for sport. I was enforcing the one boundary they never thought I could enforce. I owed them nothing. Absolutely nothing. I walked to the door and held it open. You both need to leave. My mother's head jerked up. What? You heard me. Rachel, you can't be serious. I am. No, no, she sputtered, grabbing her purse, we still need to talk about this. We're done talking, I said. She stared at me, shaking, her world collapsing in real time. But I wasn't afraid of her anymore. And as she finally stepped outside, dragging Lily with her, I felt something inside me settle. Something steady. Strong. Unbreakable. For the first time in my life, I was free from them. All of them. And they knew it. The morning after I kicked my mother and Lily out of my house, I expected peace. Maybe even a little guilt, because no matter how toxic a family is, years of conditioning make you second-guess yourself. But instead of guilt, I woke up to the sound of my phone exploding with notifications. Missed calls. Voicemails. Texts from numbers I didn't recognize. My work email lighting up before 8 a.m. It felt like someone had poured gasoline over my life and dropped a match. The first voicemail was from Lily, crying so hard she could barely form words. Rachel, please, pick up. Mom is losing it, she says she's going to fix everything, please answer. The second voicemail was from my mother's husband, my stepfather, apologizing profusely and asking me to handle this privately because my mother hadn't slept and was not herself right now. As if she had ever been someone else. Then came a text from Henry, call me as soon as you can. They're making moves. Moves. Of course they were. Toxic people never accept consequences. They attack, manipulate, rewrite the narrative, and when that fails, when someone finally stands up to them, they go scorched earth. I dressed quickly and drove to Henry's house. He was already waiting outside with a folder in his hand. They're contesting the will, he said without greeting. I took the folder. Of course they are. They hired a lawyer an hour after leaving your place yesterday. What grounds? The usual. Henry sighed. Mental incompetence, undue influence, unfair distribution, emotional manipulation, anything they think might stick. I almost laughed. If anyone manipulated him emotionally, it wasn't me. I know, Henry said. And he knew. That's why he prepared for this. Inside the folder were documents, legally binding, signed, notarized, stating that my grandfather had completed a cognitive competency test just 2 months before writing the final version of his will. He had passed with the clarity of a man who knew exactly what he was doing. He even left a letter for the attorney explaining his reasoning. Not just one line. A whole page meticulously outlining his understanding of family dynamics, acknowledging the cruelty my mother and sister inflicted on me, and explicitly declaring his fear that they would try to steal what he intended for me. He wrote, "My daughter will try to challenge this. She believes all things belong to her. They do not. They never have. If she destroys my eldest granddaughter, she destroys the legacy itself." I swallowed hard. The words hit somewhere deep, somewhere tender I didn't know still existed. He protected you, Henry said softly. More than you ever knew. I nodded. So what's their next move? Henry exhaled. Your mother hired a PR person. I blinked. A PR person? For a will? Oh yes, Henry said. She's painting you as the villain. The ungrateful daughter. The manipulative one. The bitter sister. She's doing what she always does, telling everyone you're cold. Of course she was. She needed the world to believe I was the problem, because if they believed that, they wouldn't question her behavior. She's also talking to the local news, Henry added. I stared at him. She's trying to go public? He nodded grimly. She wants sympathy. She wants attention. She wants to make you look like you stole something. I let out a slow breath. Then it's time she realizes she can't bully me anymore. Henry smiled faintly. I thought you'd say that. He handed me another folder, this one heavier, filled with paper. This is everything your grandfather documented. Expenses he covered for your mother and Lily. Payments he made. Secret loans. Bailouts. Even Lily's credit card bills for the last 4 years. I opened the folder, stunned. She told everyone she had no debt. Henry snorted. She told everyone she was buying her own house too. Which your grandfather actually paid for, by the way. I laughed under my breath. Of course he did. She's deep in debt, Henry said. And so is your mother. Without the inheritance, they will be financially exposed. That was a polite way of saying they'd collapse. What do we do next? I asked. He leaned back. We don't rush. We wait for them to make the next big mistake. The mistake arrived before sunset. Around 6 p.m., a sheriff's car pulled up to my driveway. I recognized the badge number. They served legal notices in the county. He stepped out, handed me a sealed envelope, and said, "You've been served." My mother was suing me for wrongfully withholding estate assets. I signed the paperwork, thanked the officer, and closed the door as calmly as someone receiving a pizza delivery. My daughter looked up from her coloring book. Mommy, what's wrong? Nothing, sweetheart, I said, kissing her forehead. Mommy's just cleaning up some old messes. Henry came over immediately. I told you they'd go nuclear. They're scared, I said simply. That lawsuit is nothing but a tantrum. And expensive, Henry reminded me. She's wasting her money. Let her, I said. It's her last currency. Henry nodded. The attorney wants to meet tomorrow. We'll prepare. But the universe had one more twist for the night. At exactly 8:32 p.m., I received a text from an unknown number. You need to see this. It's about Lily. A video link. Normally I'd ignore it. But something about the timing, the lawsuit, the panic, the desperation, made me click. The video opened to Lily's wedding reception. At first it looked normal, just guests dancing. But the camera panned left, then zoomed. And there was Lily. Not dancing with her husband. Not celebrating. But outside, behind the venue, in a shadowed corner, locked in a furious argument with a man who definitely wasn't her new husband. Then they kissed. A long, desperate kiss. My stomach sank. The man wasn't a stranger. He was the groom's brother. The camera timestamp? 10 minutes before the reception ended. I exhaled slowly. Oh God. Lily. Henry peeked at the screen and swore under his breath. She is absolutely finished. She cheated at her own wedding, I said quietly. On camera. And this, Henry said, is the leverage you need. I didn't want to use it at first. She was still my sister, even if only by blood. But then I remembered her words. You're not part of this family anymore. You ruin everything. You're always negative. She didn't hesitate to destroy me publicly. To humiliate me. To discard me. And now she had taken the one thing she claimed made her better than me, her perfect marriage, and smashed it with her own hands. I looked at Henry. Who sent this? The groom's cousin, Henry said. He said he's tired of Lily and your mother abusing his side of the family for years. He wants justice. Justice. Such a foreign word in that family, until now. Send it to the attorney, I said. Henry nodded and forwarded the file. And Henry? Yes? Keep the original. He grinned. With pleasure. An hour later, my mother called again, this time screaming, sobbing, threatening, bargaining all at once. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Because tomorrow, at the attorney's meeting, everything would begin to unravel for real. For them. Not for me. For the first time in my life, I held the cards. The truth. The evidence. The will. The power. And I wasn't going to waste it. The courthouse always had an air of forced dignity, stone floors, echoing hallways, judges' portraits staring down with hollow eyes. But the morning of the estate hearing, it felt different. Charged. Expectant. As if even the walls knew something irreversible was about to happen. I walked in wearing a charcoal suit, hair pinned neatly, my daughter with her sitter, and Henry beside me like a calm guardian ready for battle. Ahead of us, a cluster of reporters was already gathering. Cameras. Microphones. Murmurs. Because my mother had gone public, of course she had, and the story she fed them painted me as a greedy, cold-hearted daughter stealing a family legacy. A legacy she assumed already belonged to her. But when she stepped out of her car and saw me waiting with a composed smile, she faltered. Her makeup was perfect, her posture rigid, but her eyes were frantic. Lily trailed behind her, puffy-faced, sunglasses on, clinging to her purse like a lifeline. Her new husband was nowhere in sight. Which made sense, considering the video that had landed in his inbox the night before. I didn't know the details of their conversation, but I saw enough online to piece it together. He had left the marital suite by midnight, checked into a separate hotel, and unfollowed Lily on every social platform. His family blocked my mother's number entirely. And Lily, who always needed an audience, now walked into court like a ghost. My mother didn't greet me. She didn't even look at me. Instead, she marched forward with her attorney, a slick man with a too bright smile who clearly believed he was about to win something monumental. Inside the courtroom, the judge took his seat and opened the file. His eyes flicked across the pages with practiced efficiency. He looked up at us, all of us, and said, "Today we will review the final will and testament of the late Mr. Harold Whitmore and evaluate the challenge brought forward by his daughter, Margaret Whitmore." My mother sat taller at the sound of her name, as if the universe itself were acknowledging her importance. The judge continued, "We will also review supplemental materials submitted by the executor and secondary witness, Mr. Henry Lawson." Henry nodded respectfully. The judge turned to my mother's attorney. "You may begin." The attorney rose with theatrical confidence. "Your Honor, we contend that Mr. Whitmore was not of sound mind when he altered his will. He had exhibited confusion, declining health, and susceptibility to manipulation. Furthermore, it is our firm belief that Rachel Ellison," he gestured at me dramatically, "pressured him into leaving her the entire estate." My mother nodded vigorously, squeezing Lily's hand as if she were the star witness. The attorney continued, "We have character testimony indicating that she," another flourish of his hand, "has always been distant from the family. Cold. Difficult. Unexpressive. And that her relationship with the deceased was strained." "That's enough," the judge interrupted sharply. "I've read your statement. But accusations are not evidence. Please present your actual proof." The attorney cleared his throat and shuffled papers, suddenly less confident. "We have statements from relatives regarding her behavior." The judge cut him off again. "Statements are not admissible without corroboration." Moving on. My mother stiffened. Her attorney sat down, cheeks flushing. The judge turned to Henry. "Mr. Lawson?" Henry stood and handed the judge a binder. "Your Honor, inside you will find a cognitive competency report conducted 2 months before the will was signed. Mr. Whitmore passed with full marks. Additionally, there is a video recording taken at his attorney's office the day the will was finalized." My mother's head snapped up. "Video? What video?" Henry didn't even turn to her. "The one your father made because he knew you would do exactly this." The judge inserted the USB into the court monitor. The screen lit up with my grandfather's tired but focused face. His voice filled the courtroom. "If you're watching this, it means Margaret is challenging the will. I am not confused, nor coerced. I am simply done rewarding cruelty. My eldest granddaughter, Rachel, has been ignored, dismissed, and mistreated by her mother and sister her entire life. I am leaving everything to her because she is the only one who has earned my trust. Margaret and Lily have taken enough from me. They will take no more." My mother's hand flew to her mouth. A choked sound escaped her. Lily whimpered beside her, sinking deeper into the bench. But the video wasn't finished. "And one more thing," my grandfather said, leaning closer. "If they try to argue otherwise, remind them that I paid for Lily's house, her college tuition twice, her medical bills, her wedding, and her endless debts. I love them, but I refuse to fuel their entitlement any longer. Rachel is the future of this family. Not them." The video ended. Silence. A silence so thick the air felt heavy with it. Finally, the judge cleared his throat. "Based on this clear and legally valid testimony, the challenge is denied. The will stands as written." My mother let out a sound I had never heard from her before, a strangled, guttural plea. "Your Honor, please, he didn't mean that. He loved us, we were his family, she manipulated him, she always." "Mrs. Whitmore," the judge said firmly, "the matter is settled." "No," she cried, standing abruptly. "No, and oh, you don't understand, Rachel can't handle this, she'll ruin everything, she doesn't deserve it." I stood slowly, facing her fully for the first time in years. "Mom, sit down." She stared at me with wild, hollow eyes. "Rachel, please. You can't do this. You can't take everything. I need it." The desperation in her voice shocked even her attorney. "You'll be fine," I said calmly. "No, I won't," she cried, her voice cracking shamefully loud. "You don't know how much debt Lily has. How much I've spent. How much." The judge raised his voice. "Mrs. Whitmore, this is not the place for that conversation." But it was too late. Her meltdown rippled through the courtroom like a shockwave. People whispered. Reporters scribbled. Lily cried harder, mascara streaking like a child who'd lost her favorite toy. Then came the final blow. The judge said, furthermore, due to the malicious and publicly defamatory accusations made by Mrs. Whitmore against Mrs. Ellison over the last 48 hours, the court will consider sanctions if further harassment continues. My mother collapsed into her seat. Lily sobbed into her hands. I remained standing, not triumphant, not gloating, just firmly, quietly grounded. Because I knew this wasn't about winning. It was about surviving them. When the session adjourned, my mother approached me. Her steps were slow, fragile, like someone walking across ice that could shatter at any moment. "Rachel, please," she whispered. "We'll lose everything. You can't let that happen." "You already did," I said softly. "The moment you told me to leave your family. I'm simply honoring your wish." Her face twisted, breaking open with raw, selfish pain. "You can't mean that." "I mean every word." Lily stood behind her, shaking. "Rachel, I didn't know. I didn't mean. I just thought." I turned to her. "Lily, you cheated on your husband at your wedding. He filed annulment papers this morning. Focus on cleaning your own mess before asking me to clean it for you." She collapsed into tears again. Henry placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. "Ready?" I nodded. As I walked out of the courthouse, cameras flashed, reporters called my name, and strangers whispered. But none of it mattered. Because for the first time in my entire life, I wasn't walking behind my mother's shadow. I was walking ahead of it. And she knew it. The legacy was mine. The power was mine. The truth was mine. And the peace, finally, blessedly, was mine too.